Well, but Abiy Agina did take a trip using the train from Nairobi to Mombasa, and he'll be giving us more details on that. But still on matters to do with the SGR, the Kenya Coalition for Wildlife Conservation had moved to court to try and stop the SGR from passing through the Nairobi National Park. But before we do that, let's go back to Abiy Agina. I understand the link is now live and clear. Abiy, what's the latest you can tell us? All right, we do apologize for that. Now, the Kenya Coalition for Wildlife Conservation and Management has obtained a court order barring the launch of Phase 2A of the standard gauge railway. The launch was set to take place today after the commuter train arrives in Nairobi. The group is pressuring the SGR not to pass through the Nairobi National Park. Let's now speak to Sidney Kuntai, who is live on the line. Sidney, you seem not to give up on the SGR despite the process of the project so far. Your thoughts?
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you, Sidney. And you've been very active in ensuring that the Phase 2 of the SGR does not pass through the national park, and you've managed to get that court injunction so far. What more can you tell us?
I just want to make it very clear from the onset that we are not opposed to the SGR. We are opposed to the SGR going through Nairobi National Park. We have offered alternatives where the railway can pass and avoid Nairobi National Park and the environs. And so basically what we've been saying all along is that these routes can be looked at and it can be diverted to avoid Nairobi National Park for very many reasons. But only two clear reasons is that one, Nairobi National Park is a very critical ecosystem that requires to be protected. We have animals in there that will be affected negatively by this railway if it goes through. It is a rhino breeding ground that really requires to be protected and conserved the way it is. The other thing is that we are saying the government came up with 7 routes. And even the 7 routes that it came up with, they have not even done any study to show that Nairobi National Park is the best out of the 7. We have offered a Route 8, which is behind Akonza, going all the way to Ngong, up to Ngong Hills, and even go through the tunnel. But they are still insisting that they must go through Nairobi National Park. They have not given us any convincing reasons why they should do that. So that is what we are challenging. We have an appeal in court. And yesterday at 1 o'clock, we were granted an injunction stopping any activities on Route 2A, that is SGR 2A Nairobi Naivasha. Therefore, any purported launching of this section, either today or any other day, is actually illegal because it will be a violation of the order that stops any activity. Any activity, of course, includes launching and stuff like that. So therefore, what we are saying is that we want to ensure that we protect the environment. It is a constitutional right that must be respected. We are all protected by the law, and a clean and healthy environment is a constitutional right. So why do we need to violate that at the expense of doing a railway that can still be done elsewhere? Nairobi National Park exists and the railway continues, and it is the people of Kenya who are going to enjoy both instead of destroying one at the expense of the other.
All right, so we had bodies that were involved in wildlife management okay the project. Why do you have a dissenting opinion to that?
They did not okay. And I'm challenging whoever is saying that to show us proof that they did. The only organization that did, which is illegal, which is a violation of the Wildlife Conservation and Management Act, is the Kenya Wildlife Service. But the Kenya Wildlife Service, in fact, did not have a quorum to pass that. We have documentation to prove that that was just that was an agreement that was done between the Director General and the Chairman, and that is what is purported to be authority. Yet, as you speak right now, and I'm challenging Kenya Wildlife Service to produce a management plan, which is a legal requirement for any change or any other use protected area. Let them show us. We have been to court. They have never come to prove to us that they have a management plan.
All right, and Kuntai, of course.
The plan they had was 10 years, was actually 2010, and that is the last management plan. And it is a legal requirement that for any other use, it must be That was not done.
All right. Finally, Kuntai, of course, the flagship of that phase 2A was supposed to begin after the project, after the president finishes this maiden trip from Mombasa. Is it not too late to seek a reroute of the railway now?
It is not too late. What has been built? Nothing. There is no infrastructure on the ground. They have not started building it. They can still reroute it. If they were already inside and beyond the park, then there would be no argument. But they have not started. They're supposed to start at Syokimau, and that is not now. There are nothing is on the ground. Nothing has been made. So they can still do that.
All right. Many thanks. That is Sidney Kuntai. We'll be coming back to you, of course, for more on this. Many thanks for speaking to us. Let's now link up once again with Abby Agina, where the first SGR commuter train is set to be flagged off by the president today. Remember, the cargo freight services train left Mombasa last evening and arrived in Nairobi moments after midnight. And our business reporter, Abby Agina, is in Mombasa, joining us live with the latest. Abby.
Well, many thanks, Michelle. Glad to get you back. Well, we are right now at the SGR terminus here in Mombasa County at a place known as Miritini. This is where the president is expected to flag off the first commuter train that will be making its way to Nairobi from about 9 a.m. So far, what's happening is passengers still coming in. Many of them being government officials coming away from different ministries as well as private sector individuals. We have so far seen a number of top CEOs just looking forward to taking this particular ride to Nairobi. So, Michelle, right now there's an air of excitement as well as anticipation as the first commuter train is set to leave the Mombasa terminus. We understand that it will be taking about 4.5 hours, but the president will be making a few stopovers along the way. We know that he'll be stopping at Voi, Athi River, and finally at the Nairobi terminus. So for now, Michelle, it's mainly just people coming in, checks being done, security has been beefed up. We do know that the president will be addressing members of this particular area just to give his remarks before the train departs for Nairobi. But we know also, other than that, there's a tight security along the rail line all the way to Nairobi. We also know that an advanced train has already left just for security preparedness along the journey. And we also understand that there'll be aerial surveillance from the Kenya Defence Forces that will be flying over the train as we make our way to Nairobi. Michelle, this is my ticket.
That seems to be a very colorful event that you're expecting just before you finish up. But in terms of security, this is only being done on this maiden trip. We have a faster train that has gone in terms of security, and we'll have a helicopter as well for security. But in terms of further trips, after the launch of this SGR project, who is going to be taking a look at the security of the passengers henceforth?
Well, quite a good question, Michelle. What we know is that the standard gauge rail line has been fenced all the way to Nairobi, and that was one of the security measures that they did take to ensure, first and foremost, people cannot cross over and get into the line. Secondly, we also know that CCTV cameras will be installed across the various train terminus along the corridor. They number to about 33 stations. So for today, being the president, being on the train, they don't want to take any chances. They just want to ensure security is top-notch, as well as just assure the international community as well as the Kenyans that the president is safe as he takes the ride to Nairobi. But one of the critical issues, Michelle, that still is on the table for security apparatus is how can they respond in the eventuality there perhaps there is an accident or there is an ambush on the train. So those are the hard questions that we don't know what the plans are so far in regard to that, but really we know that the railway line has been fenced all the way to Nairobi, and that's about 460 kilometers of fencing along the corridor, Michelle.
And Abby, finally, what time are we expecting the president to leave Mombasa with this maiden trip? Of course, I understand it's expected to take about 4 hours, 20 minutes thereabouts.
Well, Michelle, I can't give you a definitive answer in terms of what time we're supposed to leave. But earlier on, we were briefed as the media that the train should be departing at 7 a.m. And right now, according to my watch, it's 7:30 a.m. And no signs of the president yet. But the president will be leaving, ideally, tentatively, we know it's about 9 a.m. because he is expected to address the people who will be here as well as the media. And that's the much we know so far. But over and above that, the stopovers will be about 30 minutes because the president will be opening those terminals along the corridor, and we have been briefed that it will be taking 30 minutes stopovers. So ideally, if you factor in the time factor of 30 minutes of 3 stations or 2 stations, we should be getting to Nairobi. If we leave by 9 a.m., we should be getting to Nairobi at around 1 p.m. or 2 p.m. according to a tentative schedule so far, Michelle.
All right, thank you, Abi. That is our business anchor and reporter. And Abi Agina will be giving us live updates of that maiden trip from Mombasa because he will also be on that trip. A lot of excitement.